Now, let's talk about who I believe is one of the greatest singers we'll ever witness, and that's Miss Whitney Houston.
You better say it.
I believe that is one of the greatest singers we will ever see in our lifetime. How's that experience with that sister?
Well, you know, every artist that I've worked with since working with Whitney, and I'll talk about that in a minute, are all inspired and touched by Whitney's presence, her voice, you know, and what she's accomplished in this industry. It's huge. I was 22 years old, and I was working with Gladys Knight and the Pips. And I got a call to put together a showcase for a singer out of New Jersey, and didn't know that it was Whitney Houston, 18 years old. All the record companies passed. Only one company showed up, and they walked out before we finished the first song. It was like, wow. But it was at a time where it was Shalimar, the Whispers, you know, it was all about groups. So no one really was into, like, okay, so she's gonna stand there and she's gonna sing, and then what? What happens after that?
Well, the rest of them,
You know what happens after that? It's called Mega International
Holla.
Superstar,
See?
baby. One of the biggest and baddest that your asses will ever know of.
So you know, a few people got fired immediately after missing that ship. But the bottom line is that I got a call to do that, and we became friends. And I worked with her in the band at first, and then became a music director later, and was honored to be a part of history. And you know, if you ask her, and for me, I think one of the milestones or really key things that happened in my life was producing the national anthem for the Super Bowl for her was just huge for us. I mean, here I am at 31 at that time, and she was, do the math, 27. So, you know, at that time we were really young and embarking in trying to do something different, because it's not always so. You know, there's a chapter in the book I talk about the trust card, where you really have to work hard and trust and believe in what you're doing. And sometimes it may mean, you know, that everyone may not get it right away, or they may not, you know, it may not be a success, but you have to trust in it, you know. And so, I mean, it was just amazing working with her, and we're close to this day, and it's just been a wonderful experience for me. I mean, she changed my life.
Now, because we know that Miss Whitney she Whitney, and you're going to sing backup.
Yeah.
How was that? Because when you do go back to your hometown, like you on the biggest stage with the biggest star, and they saying Cy Smith.
Oh my gosh. And it was live on HBO, and my mom and dad, I'm from Maryland, D.C.
Hey, fam.
Hey, fam. And my mom and dad are in the audience. My dad is standing up, dancing like we're in church. And I'm like, we're in Constitution Hall. But it was amazing. I was just, you know, I was thrilled to be there, you know. And singing with her is like, she has a song called I Learned from the Best. That's how it is when you sing with her. You're learning from the best, you know.
And let me tell you know, part of my job is not only to play, but to watch and make sure everything's happening. And did you know, a couple times I look over at rehearsal at Cy at the beginning, she didn't know this. I caught her watching Whitney instead of singing. I mean, it was like,
you a fan? Did you become a fan?
Become a fan. I mean, in the beginning, it's really hard. You know, it's just like you know, pro players watching Kobe play. And, well, you know, but hey, that's another story. I don't want to go there. Go back to Cy. Sorry.
Accomplishment.
I believe in miracles.
Accomplishment can be defined in many ways. As an artist and a humanitarian, Whitney Houston redefines that word every day.
She showed us that you could reach heights that people have never reached before. You can be played on any format. You can be an actress. You can be successful at everything you try to do. So Whitney Houston has definitely opened up a lot of doors, and we have a lot of young women following right after her.
I think that she's, you know, just continued the process started by the Billie Holidays, the Sarah Vaughns, and the great ones. I think that when we look back and we say, you know, the great ones, the great singers, the great songstresses, the great musicians, I think Whitney Houston will be on that list.
Who were your kind of singing influences at the time? So when you were a teenager, I've heard that you were a massive Whitney Houston fan, for example.
Well, yes. Everybody loved, and so I think they still love Whitney Houston.
Were you very excited you know, as a fan of Whitney when you did the duet with her?
Yeah, it was fun. We actually had a good time.
Was it kind of intimidating to be on the same record as someone that you'd kind of grown up admiring?
I was just like, this is unbelievable. This is amazing.
Was it tempting to try and kind of outdo each other to an extent, though?
I don't think so, because we were even talking when we were doing the record that, you know, when we were doing certain harmonies, that we were blending in a way that sometimes we would get confused, like, did you do that note, or am I doing this note? So
I said, who the hell is this? He says, just some young girl. It was just signed, and Clive thinks it's a wonderful artist, going to be a great artist in the future. I said, whoever this is, I said, use this voice. And it turned out to be Whitney Houston.
And her voice was like razor blades, just power coming out of her. And I was surprised how she could be that thin with that kind of voice.
Is it true that you sing Whitney Houston in the shower?
Yes. Something about the shower just makes everyone feel like they can be Whitney Houston. It's not true, but...
Whitney Houston.
Eighth wonder of the world. Now, you know, I was supposed to do this song that Whitney Houston did in The Bodyguard.
I Will Always Love You.
Dolly kept saying to me, Patty, cover my song, cover the song. I said, I love this song. I said, as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to get in the studio and do it.
Oh,
when I heard that freaking Bodyguard and Whitney had that song, I almost cried.
Oh, I bet
I said,
you
Girlfriend
did.
got the song before I did.
And Girlfriend
after
got rich.
Whitney did it, you can't do it.
Oh, no, you can't.
Yes, she
touch
got
it.
rich.
She got
And it
rich.
wasn't even about getting rich. That was my song.
Wow.
Whitney.
What? Do you have a favorite
Whitney.
Patti LaBelle song? LaBelle song?
Within a year of Michael Jackson happening, Clive Davis signs Whitney Houston to Arista Records and makes her into the most powerful voice of the decade.
Both Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston represent certain aspirations of the civil rights movement coming to fruition. So they are carrying on a tradition and simply taking it to a new phase.
Crossover. Let me give you an example of crossover. Clive Davis believed so much in Whitney Houston that he very quickly, all of Whitney's releases, her single releases, would be multi-format. They were taken to every radio station. And so he established her as a major pop act.
Oh, pretty lady. My next guest is a rather spectacular 21-year-old singer whose recent album, his debut album as a matter of fact, has received great reviews from the critics.
That Johnny Carson 11:30 at night show is not necessarily a black show. So all of a sudden you have a black female artist singing a very soulful, oriented song that had very popular overtones to it.
Would you welcome, please, Whitney Houston. Whitney.
Huge crossover at that point in time. Everybody and your mama was watching. You know, it's like it's one of them kind of things. Everybody wanted to see who is this girl, this pretty, beautiful black young woman with these kind of pipes that has the ability to mesmerize, and you just sit there and watch her.
You can't underestimate the importance, the impact, the sheer change that Whitney Houston made for R&B culture, for pop culture. Nobody managed to sell a hybrid of pop and R&B in the manner that she had.
If you look at the R&B scene that I came up in, Whitney wasn't necessarily something that you would mention because she was so above everything. She was pop. She was, you know, Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston's record was the first album that I ever bought, and I remember being so excited and going home and listening to, oh, I want to dance with somebody, and like pretending like I was in the video.